How enduring are marriages forged out of convenience? Common wisdom holds that a union devoid of passion is ultimately bound to crumble. Aurora encountered Jaden at a mutual friend's celebratory gathering. Initially, the man caught her eye, but as she came to know him better, romantic sparks failed to fly. She found Jaden to be a riveting talker, financially prosperous, and undeniably handsome. As he began to pursue her earnestly, she remained non-committal. While she appreciated his attentiveness and devotion, her feelings did not deepen beyond that. Her mother and friends claimed that Jaden was too good an opportunity to pass up, urging Aurora to reciprocate his advances. At 32, it's high time you started thinking about settling down, her mother chided, thinking Aurora was being impractical. After some contemplation, she saw eye to eye with their point of view. Gradually, she nurtured a platonic love for him, marked by gratitude and fondness. Yet the fabled butterflies eluded her, which occasionally left her heart heavy. She recognized Jaden's deep affection for her and strove to meet him halfway. On the milestone of their first year together, Jaden proposed, and she accepted joyously, filling their hearts with immense happiness. Their wedding was a celebration that radiated joy far and wide, with Jaden sparing no expense to fulfill his bride's wishes. As the years unfolded, they welcomed a child into their family. When the child started kindergarten, the monotony of domestic life weighed on Aurora, sparking a desire to re-enter the workforce. She yearned to engage in life, to evolve, and to engage with captivating individuals. After discussing her aspirations with her spouse, Aurora embarked on a quest to find a vocation that truly appealed to her. "I visited the publishing house today," she disclosed, recounting how she humbly presented herself to the superiors, their acceptance filling her with delight. She found immense satisfaction in that environment. As she shared the news with her spouse over an evening repast, Aurora gushed, "Perhaps I should consider working there." The extent of her achievement had taken her by surprise, but the joy she derived from working at the publishing house was so abundant that she happily settled there for an extended period. Aurora adored her role, relished the camaraderie amongst her colleagues, and reveled in the occasional receipt of new books. Jaden rejoiced in his wife's accomplishments, yet he remained uncertain about the ultimate consequences. After 6 months of labor, Aurora discerned a subtle change in the boss's demeanor. Though no explicit words or overt insinuations were voiced, she sensed with every fiber of her being that he treated her differently compared to the rest of the staff. "Who escorted you home?" her husband inquired when Aurora arrived tardily. "That would be Carter, our boss. He kept myself and a colleague behind, and then personally drove us home." She reciprocated the smile her spouse had bestowed, planting a tender kiss on his cheek. "And what prompted such detainment?" Jaden probed. Aware of her husband's tendency towards jealousy, Aurora endeavored to avoid giving him cause for needless bickering. "Jaden, it's just a job, darling," she comforted him, gently stroking his shoulder to calm his anxiety. However, uncertainty had already arisen in him. "I understand your concerns," she whispered. In fact, Aurora had deceived him. The boss had chosen her for a reason that was as clear as day to her. He was trying to win her over. 2 weeks later, the story repeated itself. Carter asked Aurora to stay, and she reluctantly agreed. As soon as everyone left, he headed to her office, pretending to discuss work. As the boss leaned closer to her desk, Aurora found herself scrutinizing his features for the first time. Carter wasn't particularly attractive, rather ordinary, but there was something mesmerizing in his eyes, a dark blue shade that she had never encountered before. Before she knew it, their lips were locked in a passionate embrace. Their meetings became frequent, and over time they stopped worrying about hiding their feelings, to the point that Aurora began sneaking into his office in the middle of the day. It gave them a special pleasure. Lucy accidentally stumbled upon a secret relationship between her friend and their boss, and became immensely furious about Aurora. They locked themselves in the bathroom, where Lucy chastised Aurora for her actions. "I just don't like Jaden, and Carter is driving me crazy," Aurora whispered indignantly. "So just leave him. Why torture a man's mind?" her friend retorted. Stung by the truth, Aurora abruptly left the toilet. And from that moment on, her conversations with Lucy were exclusively of a working nature and were devoid of anything else. At their abode, her spouse was visibly tense over his wife's habitual tardiness from her job. Jayden puzzled over why this sudden lapse in punctuality had not been apparent from the onset. He began to harbor suspicions about Aurora and consequently acted out in an aggressive, jealous manner. Living a double life was rapidly wearing Aurora down, triggering thoughts of separation. But the prospect of divorce terrified her. One difficult day at the publishing house made everyone worried. Carter, the manager, was clearly upset and furious. Aurora, who was trying to relieve stress from her lover, was constrained by the constant presence of people in his office. Therefore, she and her work colleagues stole puzzled glances at each other every time there were dissatisfied exclamations from Carter's office. Eventually, the door swung open and her gaze fell on him. Aurora instantly sensed his fatigue mixed with rage, and this awakened in her the desire to warm him and comfort him. Keeping an impassive expression on his face, Carter sternly said, "Aurora, I'll meet you after work. I need to discuss a matter with you." Aurora just nodded, and an exciting warmth blossomed in her. It was comforting to know that her lover needed her presence. As the day drew to a close, Aurora alerted Jayden of her delay through a text, paying no heed to the repercussions it could possibly entail. Meanwhile, Jayden was en route home from his parents, where he had left their daughter for the weekend. He fantasized about surprising his wife by picking her up from her workplace, then having a romantic dinner at a fancy restaurant. Considering he had a rare free evening in his hands, he spontaneously rerouted his car and steered towards the publishing house, blissfully unaware of the impending events. Aurora shifted uneasily in her seat as she awaited the departure of the final colleague from the workplace, eagerly anticipating the moment when she and Carter would be left alone. At last, the door clanged shut and Aurora leaped up from her chair, thrilled. "Quick, from the boss's office, over here," Carter beckoned, drawing Aurora close with such intensity that she felt her skeleton might just give way. "What a tremendously lengthy day it's been. I've got a little something to cheer you up," she proclaimed with a mischievous grin, proceeding to loosen her blouse buttons. Carter reclined, his gaze fixed on her. Meanwhile, Aurora assisted Carter with his trousers, sinking to her knees and locking eyes with him. On the outside, Jayden was just arriving at the publishing house. He attempted to ring his wife, to no avail. Opting for a direct approach, he decided to ascend to her office. As he entered, the building seemed deserted, with dimmed lights everywhere except for the vibrant glow from the second floor. He sneaked past the security point, driven by a nagging concern. Close to an office door slightly ajar, Jayden picked up ambiguous noises. Were they stifled moans or weeping? He edged closer and peered through the gap. Without a second's hesitation, Jayden barged into the room, roaring like a beast unleashed. His heart ignited with a devilish wrath upon the sight before him. His wife, scantily clad and ecstatic on the floor, her boss hovering ominously above her. Gripped by a barely contained rage, Jayden lunged at the man, delivering a solid punch. Carter howled as blood began to dribble from his nose. Jayden roared, turned to his unfaithful wife, and cursed furiously in her direction. Aurora had been looking at him all this time with awe and a certain sense of relief. She didn't have to make up lies anymore. Jayden did not hesitate to evict his wife from his apartment. She made no attempt to save their family, shed no tears, and did not ask for a fresh start. With a suitcase in her hand, she sought refuge with Carter. He welcomed her with open arms. But Aurora had to give up her job. The higher-ups did not approve of their relationship, and after a while, an intriguing video from the bar's surveillance cameras got on the internet. It was sent by a mutual friend who had already shown it to Aurora. No one knew that the office was equipped with hidden cameras, and someone from the security service posted a fragment of the video online. Although the video was not of the highest quality, It was not difficult to decipher its contents. Upon hearing this news, the woman cried for a long time, fervently praying that her daughter would never find out about it. However, the rumors that had spread through the city left her with little hope.